Right, welcome back guys, Alex here with another video, and I've got a very special guest here today. Is Mr. Mark Webb from the Mojo Interactive Podcast, which are guys, I don't think you really realise that I actually do occasionally jump on the podcast with Mark. It's a pretty current gen sort of podcast, but since I've been on there, we've been sort of adding a bit of retro as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been good. So for everybody out there, my gamer tag, my PlayStation Network ID, my Steam ID is Webby3on7. Feel free to add me. We can play some games.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing the podcast then, Mark?
We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary 2 weeks ago. So I've been running quite a while. Yeah. Longer than a lot of podcasts who've come and gone and died. So we're still keeping it going. We're audio only though. We have tried to do YouTube videos and stuff, but it's just too much work.
It's too much, It takes a lot of work editing it all out, doesn't it? And actually getting people together that night, I know it's a pain in the arse.
It is a pain. And we've tested streaming the podcast as well. It didn't prove very popular though. So our most popular thing, I think people just like to download and listen, like in the car, or they're at work.
They haven't got set time to listen to it.
That's right.
That's exactly what I do, because I mean, I know Mark through Paul, who's also on the podcast. We met at a car boot and we just started chatting. And funny enough, I was doing a podcast at the time called the 10 Pence Arcade Podcast. And I left that to sort of pursue YouTube, really. I quite just enjoyed doing it at my own time. And, you know, Paul introduced me to your podcast and I started listening to it. I must have been listening to it for about 2 years. And I think I messaged you a few times and you just said, come on. And I didn't know how it was going to go down, because the angle I come at it is mostly retro. Although I do like modern games as well. And most of the stuff you were talking to the audiences at the time was mostly Xbox games and PS4. But now the Switch is out, you've got into the Switch and you're enjoying that, aren't you?
The Switch, it's a funny thing with the Switch, because I remember Collie Wally, another member of the podcast, came over from America. It was last year. The Switch had just come out and you had one and we were playing on it, and I was sitting there going, that thing's shit. Am I allowed to swear on this, by the way? You know, this isn't going to take off. It's rubbish. Look at the graphics. Oh my god! And then about 6 months later, I saw the cool games that were coming out, mainly like Zelda and Mario and a few of the retro ones as well. I was quite interested in, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy one, just on a whim. I was in party chat on Xbox one day because I pre-ordered the Xbox One X. And I was thinking to myself, do I really need an Xbox One X? I've got an Xbox One S. I'm going to be paying 450 quid to play the same games I've already got, just slightly better graphics. I was like, you know what? I cancelled the order. As a massive Xbox fan, that was huge for me. I cancelled the order on that and I bought a Switch. So I bought the Switch, Pro Controller, I bought Zelda, Mario Rabbids and Super Mario Kart all in one go. And I was like, this has cost me the same price as an Xbox One X, but I've got a new console and loads of games that I could not play on that system. And I've not regretted it at all. I've completed Zelda. Absolutely loved it after a bit of a rocky start. Why was it rocky? Because of the weapon system? So for me, the weapon system was just like, it took me so long to get used to. And I'm really weird with games, so I'm a huge fan of the Assassin's Creed series. So the first thing I do in those games is, I want to unlock the whole map. I want to go and climb all the towers and do the whole map. On Zelda, there's a few areas that you can't get to and you either freeze to death or you get too hot and burn to death. And I was like, this is really pissing me off, because like my OCD is kicking in. But I persevered and then I figured out. You soon realise in Zelda there are ways round it. Because I've seen someone complete Zelda in half an hour. Like the main story. And they've done it by mixing foods, making potions, so you could climb the mountains where it was really cold with certain potions. Or like if you had a fire sword, just get it out. It warms you up. So it is all accessible, but it took a while to get around that kind of. So you have to think outside the box in that game. And that's what I actually really enjoyed about it in the end, like making the different potions. I'm quite lazy, so I was just like, I'm just going to buy all the outfits where I can get into those places. And then someone said to me, if you have 13 hearts, you can go and get the Master Sword. So I was like, well, that solved my issue of the weapons breaking. And then I got the shield, the Hylian shield. And then I found, because I'm a bit of a completionist, I was like, before I do anything else, I'm going to go and just do all the shrines. I'm still missing 3 shrines. But from doing the shrines, you get a load of weapons anyway. So I had more weapons than I could care to use. And that was great. So just playing it that way, I got so much enjoyment out.
Yeah. Do you think it differs? Because I mean, you've played more Xbox games than I have. A lot of people were saying a lot of the mechanics in the game is nothing new. A lot of the stuff's been done in other games. Would you say that, or do you think?
No, I disagree with that. To be honest, so one thing that I think Nintendo have done really well with Zelda is just like, for example, the system with fire.
Yeah.
You can just set fire to some grass, and then you see it all setting off, and then you get your glider out because the wind comes up. There's sort of things, there's tiny little things like that. And then goes into
slow motion, shoot down. Yeah, that was awesome.
So the weather system in Zelda is phenomenal. When there's
climbing mountains when it's raining.
You can't do. It's impossible. But I like those effects.
Yeah.
One thing that did annoy me was when there's a thunderstorm, you have to take all your weapons off because you're going to get electrocuted. But those little systems are just absolutely fantastic, and I've not seen another game do that.
Right.
And I think that is a great selling point for Zelda, like all those little details, which for a system that's, it's that. Yeah, it's a little tablet, which you wouldn't, just looking at it, you think, oh, that's not going to do a lot, right? Like, Nintendo
when you look at some of the early prototypes for the Switch, they almost look like what the Wii U was wanted to be, but didn't have. It wasn't the right time. Yeah,
But I think the for what the quality of the games that they can push out on a handheld is just phenomenal. I think.
So the graphics, do you think they're not as good as PS4 or Xbox, or would you say?
I would say Nintendo do things different. They have their own art style, and I think the way that they do those art styles, their games look phenomenal. Yeah. Anyway, so you don't need a super high spec console or PC to run those games. It's just
because I actually did think you were a little bit of a PC snob when I first listened to you. It was all about high end graphics. I thought, come on, Mark, it's not just about that. It's about gameplay as well.
And I do agree, but I think this is where Nintendo differ as well, because I think with games on the consoles and the PC, they go for ultra realism, which you need power for that realism. So for me, that's one of the reasons why I built a high spec PC was so I could play those games as good as they can be.
Are the compromise though for gameplay sometimes?
Oh, completely. I've downloaded a ton of games on my Switch, which are just little like old Neo Geo games, for example. They're like 16-bit graphics, which some people be like turn their noses up, but the gameplay's fantastic on those games. So I think you can get rid of graphics for good gameplay, and I think that's what it is at the end of the day.
It's got some AAA games on it, some big games, Zelda, Xenoblade Chronicles, which is another big game, Bayonetta. They're all real big games, and at the same time you've got all the little micro games, the indie games, the arcade games now they're starting to release. And the main selling point, I guess, is you can have it on the go.
And one game that I bought on the Switch, which I've purchased, I think, 3 times before, I bought again on the Switch, and that was Skyrim.
Right.
So I had it on the Xbox 360, got it on the Xbox One, and then I bought it on the PC as well. And I love that game; it's fantastic. And then it came out on the Switch, 50 quid. Yeah. I've not paid that much for Skyrim ever, and I was like, my missus was pregnant, and I thought, this would be great to play when we're in the hospital, when my baby's being born, and so I downloaded it, and I had a great time. I think I put about 20 hours into it just in the hospital.
Again, as another character.
And it's just it's great because those third-party titles you would never see on say the Wii U or the Wii. Yeah, it's because you've got Dark Souls coming out and like Doom's out and all these great third-party games. Yeah, on the Switch has been so well supported. It's great to see. Yeah, it really is.
Well, I always thought that the R&D department that does all the DS games converged with the main Nintendo department, so I thought that's going to be great. You're going to see all those DS games on the Switch as well, and we've seen that with so many great games. Gunvolt, Azure, I think that's one of them, and it's just some fantastic games on it. I absolutely love it. But the only negative thing I would say is I never liked the actual dock. I think it looks a bit ugly, a bit cumbersome, and it's very expensive to buy individually.
Yeah.
Because I'd like that dock in another room, so I could just transfer the Switch to another TV.
And I know a lot of people say the same thing, and I agree with you that it's expensive. I don't agree that it looks ugly, because I think it actually looks quite nice.
Do you?
Yeah. So right. So under my TV, I've got all my systems, and the Switch's dock is there, and I think it looks great.
Yeah.
And you can buy third-party docks, which are cheaper, but I wouldn't buy one.
Right.
To be honest.
No, I've heard they can corrupt the actual Switch. I think they did that toaster type design to sort of separate from the look of the Wii U. Do you see the Wii U's on display?
Yeah.
If you had it on a kind of setup like that, it almost looks the same. I think they try to deliberately make it look different than the Wii U.
It's weird though, because the Wii U controller, like looking at it now, it just looks really tacky.
It feels like a Fisher Price toy. It's very plastic, very cheap. But actually, I do like the feel of it in your hands. I've got big hands. The Wii U controller does actually feel okay in my hands.
Yeah, I mean, I never minded using that. I mean, I didn't play my Wii U a lot, but when I did, it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. To be fair, I bought a ton of games for it, and I never really played it a lot because I was so into my Xbox and playing online.
Yeah. I think a lot of they already are, all the Wii U games that are coming out for the Switch now, it's kind of made it defunct, really. There's only one game that I'll go back to, and that's Smash Brothers, which is awesome, but that won't be long. That'll be out this year for the Switch.
Yeah, well, they need to bring out Smash Bros. They need to bring out a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine how many systems they'll sell from Pokemon?
Pokemon's a big hitter.
But I do think that Nintendo are kind of wary about putting out DS games on the Switch, because I don't want to stop those sales of those systems. I mean, I know the system's been out a while, but that's kind of their system.
We're still selling
so
well. I think it's sold about 80-90 million units of the 3DS, which is incredible, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, and they've just brought out the new ones, haven't they? Like a Pokemon collector's one, and there's another one as well. And they're not that expensive either. But
so, what other games do you play? Obviously, you've got PS4.
Yeah, so one game that I'm playing a lot at the moment is Raiden 5.
Yeah, which is an arcade game, isn't it?
Yeah, so I picked this up on the PS4 last week. There you
Shout
go.
out to the guys.
Yeah.
It is an awesome game.
So,
I owned Raiden on the actual PCB on my arcade machine, and I absolutely love it. Is this real bullet hell, though, is it?
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic.
It's somewhere in between, because I don't like it when it's like, like some of these cave games. It's more like a dodge 'em up than a sort of shoot 'em up.
What I like about Raiden is I was going to pick it up on the Xbox One, because it actually came out on the Xbox One first, but it was digital only. And it was really expensive as well. I believe it was like 30 quid when it came out on Xbox One. I was like, I'm not paying that. And it's recently come out on the PlayStation 4. It's actually on sale on the PS4 on digital at the moment, I think for like 12 quid.
That's a bargain.
I picked up the physical, 18 quid I believe it was on Amazon. But I wanted it because the front of the box says Collector's Edition.
Yeah.
And it comes with a soundtrack CD in it as well. Which is pretty cool. But I've always loved those bullet hell type games.
Right.
And I thought, well, for that cheap,
got to have it.
I've got to have it, and it's fantastic. But it's not super hard either. No. You can choose your difficulty level anyway. I just play it on normal. Yeah. And it's basically, top up shooter.
Vertical shooter. See, a lot of these games came out on the 360, and the 360 is one of those consoles, like the PS2, will go down in history as one of the best consoles, I think.
Well,
would you agree?
In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, don't flame me in the comments. For me, the Xbox 360 is my favourite console of all time.
Yeah.
And
I think anyone would be hard pressed to sort of disagree with that. I mean, I owned one. I had hundreds of games. Absolutely loved it. And you saw a lot of these shoot 'em ups coming onto the 360. A lot of the cave ones and stuff like that. Do you think we'll see a lot of these coming onto the Switch? There's no reason why I shouldn't.
Well, there's already a load of them on there, right? So there's a lot of Neo Geo ones on there at the moment. But one of my favourites on the Switch at the moment is Gunbird.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. I've never played it before. It was on the Dreamcast. And I've got a Dreamcast, but I never picked that game up. Yeah. So
PS2 it was on as well, I think wasn't it?
So. I'm not sure. I mean, I had a PS2, but the Xbox 360 was kind of my baby at the time, and that's kind of how my podcast was born as well, was just basically a 360 podcast. And like one of the reasons why the 360 for me is one of the best consoles of all time. One, the online was fantastic, and I had so much fun just playing online with my mates. But the retro as well.
Yeah.
So I've always had that fascination with older type games.
Yeah.
So with Xbox Live Arcade, you could play loads of old games, like one.
What was that one where you actually went into the arcade room and you could pick a?
It was called Arcade Room.
It was arcade, but it shut down. It was an Australian company, wasn't it? It went bust.
Shut down, but some games worked really, really well. So you obviously had all the Metal Slug games and a load of Neo Geo games, but one game that's the top of my list as the most fun I have played on the Xbox 360 was a game called Scramble. I don't know if you've heard of it.
The old arcade game.
So proper old school, right? But you could play it online.
Yeah.
To play it online with your friends. So, it's old school game and you're this little ship and you're going from left to right and you're dropping bombs on these little things and you're shooting these little UFOs. But you could play it online with your mates, and it was just... I played that for hours.
R-Type as well. I think they remastered that with new graphics, didn't they? You could swap between original and new.
And I love that. I think that's absolutely brilliant thing to be able to do, to chop and change between the graphics. But there were so many games on that system. Outrun. Yeah. So they brought out an Outrun, which was it came out on the PS4 as well. It was called Outrun Online Arcade.
Yeah.
And they actually stopped selling that in 2012. So you can't buy that anymore. That game is dead.
Wow.
But I've got that on my console, so I can still play it, right? So as long as my console doesn't die.
But isn't that the trouble with buying DLC then, isn't it, really? I mean, that's always been a big beef with me. You don't really own it, do you? No,
and I've been a sucker for digital. I think the only good thing with Microsoft is if it's in your download history, you can re-download it, even if it's gone off the system for years on end.
So you can download it onto your new Xbox? Okay. So as long as it's in the cloud, it's fine.
But my worry is, obviously, 10 years down the line, they shut those services down for Xbox. Like, they shut down the services for the original Xbox. Yeah. There is going to come a time where they're going to shut down Xbox 360 online, and you're not going to be able to download those games anymore. Also, if you don't have that system as your home console, you can't play those games offline.
Yeah.
So that is always a worry with digital, and I own...
Do you get any? You can't resell. There's no way of reselling them either, is there?
No.
That's it. You don't get any discount or anything. No.
And and I love. Part of me likes digital because of the convenience. I'm able to get out, go to the shop, order online, and that. But like a little bit, me now kind of regrets all those digital purchases, because it's like I feel like I might lose them one day. And I think I went onto my 360 yesterday to re-download all those old games, and I think I got over 200 games that I've downloaded onto the console. And with the Xbox One, because you can game share, I've got most of my games digital on there as well. So
I'm quite happy to download movies and stuff like that. Doesn't bother me if I don't own the actual disc, but games, as a collector, I'm a big collector. I've always collected games. I like the physical copy. I love the artwork. Look at the artwork on that. It's so cool.
It is cool.
I've got to have it in my possession. I want to feel it.
But one thing I will say is I think games are going the way of music in films. So,
well, especially with a lot of young kids now, they're not like us. Yeah. They're grown up in this, so they know no better. So for them, it's it's the only way to do it.
And really. It's also, I mean, people are starting to see games as very disposable. Especially now, they're a lot cheaper than what they used to be. Especially with the downloads, you wait for Steam sales. You can pick up a game for a couple of quid. Who gives a shit? I've got over 100 games on my Steam library I've never played. They're just sitting there. But it is a nice feeling, because I've got a really big PlayStation 1 collection, and I love just seeing all my discs lined up on the boxes, because the PlayStation 1 was kind of my era. I mean, obviously, I grew up playing Nintendo 64, Mega Drive and stuff like that, but what really got me into gaming was the PlayStation 1, Final Fantasy 7. That's what really made me a gamer.
Was there one particular game that actually blew you away?
Yeah, it was Final Fantasy 7.
Right,
obviously, I had a Mega Drive. I picked up a SNES later on, and I loved the Sonics, and I loved the Marios, etc. But then when I got my PS1 with Final Fantasy 7 for Christmas, I think it was a 97 maybe. Man, I was blown away, because it's just, I've never seen graphics like that. The cutscenes, just the way that game was. I mean, the characters looked a bit crap with the the pixel or polygons or whatever, but just the background and just the epicness of the story.
The whole depth of the game. Yeah, for me it was Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I remember just going around to my friend's house and he had it up and running, and I could not believe the way she was just turning her head round to look round the corridor, whereas before you'd have to sort of turn 360 to
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
You know, now she could just peer around without exposing her whole body to the enemy, you know, just peer, and I thought that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant game.
I find it weird, like, with the... For gamers, there's always that game which got you into gaming.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, I'm such a fan of the Final Fantasy series. I've played them all.
Yeah.
I've never played 6. Well, never finished 6. I'm currently playing that on the Vita.
Right.
And I'm really loving that. But it's weird, like, that series for me, like, I will play every game in that series now. Even if it's not that good, I will finish the game. And... that's the same for everybody. There's always that game, and it's just great. You know, you always have fond memories, and you end up with like posters on the walls and things like that. You know, but it has changed a lot, and I think, you know, I do worry that kids now, like when they're like our age, oh yeah, the game that got me into gaming was Call of Duty. It's like, oh, God, come on. So
I know it is a big game. I've never played Call of Duty. It's just not my thing. I think for me, the last big first-person shooter I played was Halo. You know, I loved that.
Yeah.
Those sessions on there, on the original Xbox.
Yeah.
You know,
so
2 TVs set up back to back. Do you remember them? Did you ever do that?
Yeah. So Halo for me got me into Xbox.
Yeah.
I remember buying my big Xbox and the first Halo, and it wasn't online the first Halo, but you could play the whole campaign co-op, split screen with your mates. So you could have like a LAN party and play. So that was cool. And then as soon as Xbox Live came out on the original Xbox, man, that was me. And for me, the original Xbox will always be the Dreamcast 2.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this in the podcast last night, and because I love the Dreamcast, I had the Dreamcast, I had the keyboard, I had the mouse, I had Phantasy Star, I played Quake on that. That console was phenomenal. My first venture into online gaming on a console, and
was that the first console that did online gaming then, really, to
a certain degree. I mean, I know you had like some add-ons for like the Super Nintendo, Japan,
the satellite view, which was really just downloading games. I don't know if you could play against each other, but you could download content and stuff.
So the Dreamcast was really trying to push online gaming on a console, and it was a bit ahead of its time because the broadband speeds went up to scratch, right? So it flopped, and it is a shame because in my mind the Dreamcast was a great system.
Why do you think it flopped?
Great games, PlayStation.
Oh right,
you know, they just killed it.
Nailed it. Yeah.
And a little bit was piracy because there was no.
Well, the advertising for the PS1 was quite unbelievable, really. I actually know the guy who pushed the PS1 into all the clubs, you know, the Ministry of Sound back in the 90s. And it was his idea to get into the sort of younger generation by putting it into clubs. And it was ingenious. It
was ingenious because I was at kind of that age, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. So the stand-up game for me at that time was Wipeout because it had a really good soundtrack. And so a lot of the tracks in Wipeout we played in the clubs at the time because there was a big clubbing scene back then, and I was kind of part of that culture, going clubbing and stuff like that. So for me, it was like PlayStation 1 as well. Freaking awesome.
I had the PS1. You know, I've only really owned the Super Nintendo. Was my first Nintendo console. I skipped the N64. Come back from travelling and then just jumped straight into the PS1. You know, and I love collecting for that system. I miss a lot of the games actually.
It does surprise me how expensive some of the games are now as well, which I find
they're going up a lot.
And I mean, I don't actively seek out games for that system because I already own all the ones that I really like. But there's some really obscure RPGs, which we went to that retro game fair last year, and I was like, bloody hell! Like some of these games are just insane.
So you went to the London Gaming Market. That was your first time at a London
it was
market.
Awesome.
So you liked it.
I loved it.
Seeing all the retro.
Well, that's where I picked up my Dreamcast.
And your partner picked up a little Pokemon.
Pokemon
Game Boy Advance.
Game Boy. That's like £100. Fucking insane. But it was great because I've been after a dream. Because obviously at the time I sold my Dreamcast, and I really wanted one again. And I was like, I'm going to buy one, no matter what. And I picked up a good deal, actually. I got it for 50 quid, fully boxed, with 2 controllers, 4 memory cards, had 2 games with it, and there's no yellowing on it at all. It was like 50 quid bargain. I'm having that, thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't think you can get that cheap with car boot.
No, so I've got all the Sega systems, because I was a bit of a Sega kid before PlayStation came along.
Yeah.
Apart from
Master System.
I've got Master System, Mega Drive, Dreamcast,
Saturn.
No, I don't have a Saturn. That's what I was about to say. I'm after a Saturn at the moment.
Loads of good shoot 'em ups on the Saturn.
Yeah, but I just don't want to pay the prices that people are asking for on eBay.
So my question now comes in about emulation.
Yes.
You're quite happy to emulate a lot of games?
I'm massive emulation.
Do you?
Yeah. So,
well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, because not everyone can afford this retro tax that we pay a lot of now.
Yeah,
and it is retro tax. It's so expensive.
I think that the problem with retro is now it's becoming really expensive, and I think it doesn't help all these YouTube videos.
No.
With people
all
like,
the car booters.
Look at these games. I emulate a lot. So I'm a bit funny with emulation. So I love it.
Yeah.
So I've got mini NES and mini SNES, which I've soft modded. We've got the games of those systems on, which is great. I've bought a Raspberry Pi, and I put a program on called RetroPie. Fully loaded that with all like every system. It's freaking awesome.
You get all the arcade games on there as well.
MAME. But I mainly emulate on my PC because it's got that extra bit of grunt. So I mainly use that. I'll use a program called Launchbox along with RetroArch. So RetroArch does all the emulation, and Launchbox is kind of a front end, so it has all the box art and it gives you history of all the games, and it's freaking awesome. And apparently if you use a MAME arcade machine, Launchbox can be a front for an arcade machine as well, which is pretty cool.
And when you're playing emulation on your PC, is there a specific controller that you prefer?
So it's a 360 controller all the way for me. I mean, I do own USB controllers for like SNES and a Mega Drive one, because I like those controllers, but mainly the SNES one is such a perfect controller. But because the 360 controller for me, I've spent years with it in my hands, it's just perfect.
It's got the 2 analog sticks for me for twin stick shooters.
It's
awesome.
perfect. It's such a great controller. But everything runs great. I mean, I love MAME. I love like Neo Geo. You can play like N64 games. Everything, you know. And then because I'm a bit weird, I got 2 original Xboxes, and I've always wanted to soft mod one of those. So I'm actually doing that tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So tomorrow my kit's arriving. So basically, you use a copy of Splinter Cell. It's a game save, and you use a USB stick and you plug it into the controller with a little wire that's been modded. You can just open that up, put Linux on it, and you can just chuck that. So use that.
I used to have one with all the arcade games on it. It was okay. The sound was a little bit out. For me, arcade machines, it's very important that I play them on the machine that it was specifically made for. It's a bit different with the sort of later 90s sort of run, right and fight type games. I'm not too bothered because they didn't have dedicated machines anyway, but a lot of the early classics have got all their own control mechanisms, and I don't know, for me it's a big nostalgia thing. I just have to play it on the original machine. It just takes me back, you know. But
I think the problem with that is that's out of reach for
of course it is, and space, you know.
And
you know, I'm lucky to have the machines I've got, really. You know, when I see some of these US guys have got all this space, you know, I've got friends like Whitney, he's got all these machines. I'm so jealous, you know, but I could never have that. So for some, MAME emulation is the only way, and you know, it's great for that. If you want to play, get high scores, you know, have competitions and stuff, it's great.
So one thing that I would like, which I don't have, and I will do at some point, is actually have an arcade machine in my house.
Yeah,
I would love one, but I would just have one with MAME on with just every game.
Every game.
Just there, select it, job done. Because you know I come around yours, and it's just great, that feel with the arcade sticks and the buttons. It's just such a great feeling, and that's something that's missing when it's on a computer screen or a TV with a little controller.
Doesn't feel the same.
No,
does
it doesn't. So that's something that I would like to do, but it's just
a lot of people play the arcade games using a keyboard, and it's like no. But they're really good because I think you can be a little bit more precise with a keyboard. But it's
I'd rather use a controller.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one cheap way of doing a MAME arcade machine, this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to build another PC because I've already got most of the parts anyway. And then you build the cab just out of cut out wood, obviously. Get a monitor, stick the PC in.
Yeah, you could do it. Use a retro Pi in the back, couldn't you?
You can, and a lot of people do, but I'd rather use a PC.
Yeah,
because you've got the extra grunt.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get the slowdown on the games and stuff like that with the PC. So.
Yeah, I used to have the PC, but the fan in it used to whirl around. Used to annoy the hell out of me. That fan. But yeah, it's pretty cool, man. So, what other games are you playing at the moment then? Latest games?
So,
you've done Zelda. You've got the Raiden.
I've got too many games on the go.
Is there anything you're looking for on the horizon? Any games you're looking forward to this year?
Yes. So I've pre-ordered Ni no Kuni 2 for the PlayStation 4.
Is that the anime type?
Yeah.
Game?
So the original Ni no Kuni was made in conjunction with what's that famous Studio Ghibli? So they did all the artwork. So Ni no Kuni 2 is a sequel to the first one, but I don't think Studio Ghibli have been involved in this, but it's the same art style.
Did you play the first one then?
Completed it.
It was good.
Oh, I loved it. I bought 2 collector's editions of that. Right. One of them is still sealed.
See, that would be great on the Switch, that art style, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
The Switch great.
Yeah. So I've pre-ordered the collector's edition of that as well. Right. So I've needed of 2 that's out next month. That I'm really looking forward to that. And I think there's not a lot of other games coming out, like Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah. I'm toying with getting Burnout Paradise remaster next month. I'm not sure on that yet.
That's classic.
Because I caned it on the 360, so we will see. But I picked up Yakuza 0 on the PS4, just started that. That's great. Persona 5 on the PlayStation. I'm trying to finish that.
You haven't finished that yet?
No.
It's good, is it?
Oh, it's really good. I've been playing that nearly a year now, still not finished it because it's so big.
Huge.
Picked up Monster Hunter World, playing that on the Xbox.
Is that good?
Yeah, and I've still got games in the shrink wrap I've not played yet. So Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah, I got that on launch. Yeah, still in the shrink wrap. I really want to play it.
Is that dated now? Do you think, or do you think it's?
Looking at YouTube videos, it looks fantastic. It looks really good. Like comparing it to the original, wow, they've done such a good job on that.
What was the other one they brought out? The recent one, it was Ico, Shadow of the Colossus. There was another one they brought out. We mentioned it on the podcast.
Oh, one with the dog.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell! It's just gone from my mind.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it got slated, didn't it? It was a bit clunky.
The cam. Moving the cameras because my missus, I bought that for my missus.
That was in development for years, wasn't it?
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, the camera's horrible and it's making me feel ill," and just stopped playing it.
Yeah, Guardian, was it Guardian?
Last Guardian.
That's it. Yeah.
So, and I think that is a problem with some remasters because she had that problem with Kingdom Hearts as well. Big fan of Kingdom Hearts, Squaresoft, now Square Enix, obviously, but you go back and play these remasters, and it's just like. Just saw the freaking camera out. It's alright. It just makes me feel sick.
They just bought a remaster out of Secret of Mana. Do you remember that game?
Oh, it's awful.
It's awful.
It's shit.
Really?
I'm sorry to swear, but
because I watched someone else's review of it and he thought it was good. He was a big fan of the game.
So
it's got the original music, right? The graphics have been updated.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
So I'm a massive fan of the original. I think the pixel art on it is stunning.
Yeah.
It's such a great game, and you get that charm with the little pixely characters and do the little animations. And then I downloaded the new one. Yeah. And I was just like, what is this? Yeah. Because the way that they've done the new graphics, it's lost its charm. Yeah. And the remastered music isn't as good as the original music either. Right. I don't think.
But you can play the original music, can't you? I think.
I don't know. I've not gone into the settings.
I know what you mean by the style. It's cutesy and it's modern and it kind of looks like a cartoon.
I don't like it.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel right, does it?
Like so, because I actually went on my mini SNES and played and played it.
Yeah.
Literally a week before I played the new version, and I was just like, I'd rather play the original.
Yeah.
But it's the same with Final Fantasy VI. So I've got that on the Vita, but it's the original version. Well, was the PlayStation 1 version, but it's the same as the SNES version.
Yeah.
They didn't touch it, so it's as it was. And then they brought out Final Fantasy VI on the PC, which I downloaded, but they changed the graphics to this new style. It's the same as the phone version, and it just loses its charm. It's just like the battle systems, like they've changed it slightly with the touch screen.
Yeah.
But the way they've done the graphics, I'm just like, it just looks awful.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I think pixel art is
an art
great.
itself.
And I think if you change a game from pixel art to this new style, it just loses its charm.
Especially when pixel art is so hip right now. You know what I mean? It's all coming back again. It seems strange to sort of develop it into what they've done with that game, really, when pixel art is so popular.
Yeah.
It's strange. But going forward with consoles then, the 3 consoles we've got at the moment, Xbox and PlayStation 4 and Switch, whose year is it going to be this year? Where did you see the consoles going? What directions and stuff?
It's hard for me
because we talk about this quite a lot on the podcast, don't we?
It's hard for me to say because I'm coming from someone who has notoriously been accused of being an Xbox fanboy.
Yeah.
Just purely because I've loved the 360 generation and I've tried to love my Xbox this gen, and I have done. Don't get me wrong, like all the multi-platform games are great on there. But I think what Microsoft is missing is the exclusives.
Yeah.
And for someone like me who's got a kick-ass PC as well, it's like, well, why am I playing my Xbox and all the exclusive games on the PC?
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a lot of games coming out on the Xbox this year. They're exclusive, just like Crackdown 3 and Sea of Thieves. Yeah, they're not really my type of games, right? But the PlayStation, it's got so many exclusives already, and it's got some great games coming out this year as well.
And they're very Japanese as well.
And I love my Japanese games. Because
I thought actually the Japanese market was going downhill. 5 years ago, it all seemed like it was going. More Western companies were doing well, and games were coming out more on the Xbox, and the Xbox was doing well in Japan for the first time.
Yeah.
So I thought, I don't want to see the end to Japanese design because I love the way their art style. And it's just so different and out there.
One thing that surprises me is I just picked up Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami, which is a remake of the original one. And it's all in Japanese. There's no English voice acting in it. So it's all Japanese with the subtitles. And apparently, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. And it's actually quite popular now. And it's like a game that's in Japanese is now popular in Europe. It's very strange. But I think those style of games are coming back now because I think Japanese developers are putting a lot of effort into their games, and I think the Western games are just they're just very samey. It's all shooting people in the face, and I'm sick of it now. I used to love those games, but I'm like, well,
it was always the case back in the sort of 16-bit era that Western games are all sort of sports simulations, and the Japanese made great shoot 'em ups, platformers and stuff like that, and they dominated for years, didn't they? And it kind of turned around a little bit. 10 years ago with the Xbox, and now it seems like it's going full circle again.
It's weird because I think Nintendo are going to have a good year this year. I mean, look at how many games are coming out for the system in 2018. It's phenomenal.
It's going to do well.
And I think it's going to sell a hell of a lot more systems. I think the games are going to do really well. So I think the 2 consoles at the moment, sad to say, Switch and PlayStation are the 2 big consoles at the moment, whereas the Xbox is just kind of like, well, it's there, it's good. If you want power, you got the X
not doing
out there,
different.
but it's if you want different games, and if you have a PlayStation and a Switch, then you're pretty much set for 99% of the games that are out there. So,
what game would you love to see be not remastered, but a sequel of? A sequel to a classic game. Shenmue?
Well, that's coming out, isn't it?
It is. It's got a Kickstarter, but I haven't seen anything on that.
So, Shenmue is funny because when they announced the Kickstarter, I was straight on there. I think it was like 2015. Put my money down.
Yeah. How much money have they got out of that?
A lot. And I'm like...
I've probably got enough money to make
two. So I put money into the Kickstarter, nearly 3 years ago now. I'm still waiting for my game.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's like the longest pre-order in history. I apart from Duke Nukem, which I think was like a 10-year pre-order or something. But I can't wait for Shenmue.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a massive fan of the series. It was way ahead of its time. I think it was at the time on the Dreamcast, it was the most expensive game ever made. Mate, I lost hours into that game. Like just doing stupid things, like going to the arcades, playing like Space Harrier, and I remember spending countless hours just in my job in the game, just in a shipping yard, like moving boxes around. It's like a life simulator.
Yeah, it's a classic game.
But at the time, I was like, wow, this game is so
Do you think, though, if they brought it out now, it won't be so different? Because obviously it had its time and its place, and it was different back then. They've got to do something completely different within the game to make it good.
I mean, the art style is very similar to the Dreamcast art style from what I've seen, because I get the emails.
Right.
But I went back and actually put on Shenmue on my Dreamcast about a month ago.
Yeah.
And the graphics still actually hold up now. I think they look really, really good. The control system sucks though, because it's all on the D-pad to move around. I'm like, I want to use a thumbstick, which is why I got Shenmue 2 on the Xbox original, because you can use the thumbsticks on that. But I like the art style. People are moaning about it. Oh, it doesn't look next gen.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
No.
It looks good enough. If the gameplay's there and the story's there, that's all I care about, right? You know, that's what this game's about. And that's why I've suddenly got into Yakuza, because a lot of the team that made Shenmue are now making the Yakuza series, and the games are very similar.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm into at the moment.
Okay.
So
what about events? You do an event in London. What's that one called? The game show you go to with the guys.
So I think it's a Replay.
No, is it?
Not Replay.
No, not Replay. I haven't been to it yet. You know, we met up at the pub.
Yeah.
We went to a game meet before. Big convention.
Yeah, so that
What was that
I
one
thought it
called?
was Replay, but maybe it's not called Replay.
It wasn't Replay. You got any plans to do any this year, or?
I might do Eurogamer this year.
You've got to do Revival. You've got to come to Revival.
Yeah, so we're going to set up in the summer. We're going to go up to Manchester and do the arcade club.
You've got to do that.
So that is something that I really want to do this year, and my missus is up for it. So we're going to get
Premiere in.
Yeah, and get some. So you guys all come and we'll play some cool games, and the Mojo community as well.
Yeah.
So that I really want to do that. But obviously, wait to the summer, and we'll organise some dates. I might do Eurogamer. I went to it last year, had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But the problem with Eurogamer is all the games I've already read about online.
There's nothing new, is it?
There's nothing new, and I can't be asked to queue up and play the game.
No.
So for me, it's more about meeting up with people. But last year it was literally me and two of my mates, and we just went around. And then
the great thing about Arcade Club, it's got all the modern games. It's got all the Japanese weird rhythm games. It's got the classic 80s. Arcade games, pinballs. He's opening up another floor as well now.
That sounds cool.
It's just absolutely awesome.
And it's not super expensive, is it?
No, it's £10 to get in.
Nothing, is it?
Everything's
really?
on free play. Got a bar, got
nice.
food. Ain't got to leave the premises.
Sweet.
You've got to worry about all of that. It's absolutely awesome. You've got to get out there.
That sounds good. It's a shame there's not something closer, but because it's like a 4-hour drive from where we are. But I don't mind doing that.
Yeah.
It's not like we do it all the time, but I'm surprised there's nothing like that in London.
Yeah.
It's
premises, cost of rent and shit, costs so much money. But we do need something in London.
But there is in London though. There is some cool places. So there's
you've got the Four Quarters bar.
Yeah, which I've not been to actually.
You haven't.
Which I do need to go to, but there's another. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a video game themed bar, and all the drinks are like themed on video games.
Right, okay.
Which sounds really cool.
What was that one we went to? With the kung fu? Was it the
It was a kung fu bar. Yeah, it's actually.
They had 2 jammer cabs in there with MAME on, and they looked naff.
Oh, dude, we had so much fun in there, but it was quite expensive to play the game.
They had all these black and white TVs, CRTs running old Bruce Lee and kung fu movies. It was bizarre.
It was cool. So, and in the back room, they've got a really small back room, and they've got some arcade machines back there which aren't being used. So they're just kind of stuck in the corner. And one of them's Time Crisis, and one of them's Point Blank. I'm like, get them out! I want to play those games. Yeah, they're so cool.
Yeah, well, hopefully more will pop up. Well, listen, dude, it's been great chatting to you.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
The podcast, when does it go out?
So we record on a Sunday, but obviously we don't do that live anymore. But I do try to get the edited version up on a Tuesday. We're recording on a Monday, right? So I've actually got the podcast up early this week.
Yeah,
so
which I'm on. So guys, if you want to listen, I'm on it this week, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you come on most weeks now, so which is cool because I think the people on the podcast actually like hearing about the retro stuff
as well. It's good to mix it all in. Everyone, you can't just like modern games. You got to like
and that's one of the reasons why we changed the name because it was 360 Gamer Cars, changed to Mojo because we were like, right, we want to do everything, try and encompass everything, and the change annoyed quite a lot of people. But I was like, you know what, we're gamers, right? We're just playing everything. The podcast, you can find us on iTunes. It's Mojo Radio, but it's not just on iTunes. You can just use any podcast app on your phone, Podbean or anything, and just search for Mojo Radio. It's got a symbol it's an orange symbol with a little monkey on it.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the video below, guys. You can just find it straight away.
So we have a good community. We have a Discord group, which is banging. We've got a Facebook page, setting up games all the time. So we've got a good community there. So.
Cool, man. Yeah. Well, thanks very much for coming in, mate. We're going to play some games now, guys.
I'm going to play some Sky Skipper now and beat his high score.
The world record.
That's it.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Cheers.
See you on the next one.